My name is Ava, also known as Dorm Room Beta in this case. Today I'm going to teach you how to clean a 10-gallon planted aquarium. I've gotten some questions in the past about how to clean a planted aquarium when your substrate is sand, because that can be a little more tricky and some people aren't sure they want to use sand depending on how difficult it is to clean. So I'm going to clear up some issues on that today. Step one would be to get your supplies. The most important thing I'd say that you might not have already would be a plain old length of tubing. You can get this at pretty much any hardware store. You can cut it to the length you want it. It's pretty easy, cheap, and convenient to use. Some people prefer using something like this, buying an actual gravel vac. This is pretty useful if you have gravel, since you can sift through the gravel much easier. With sand, I don't think this has any special benefits over just getting a cheap piece of tubing. Next would be have your scrubby brush. Whatever kind you want to use, whatever size works for you. I use this mainly for a big cleaning, when I just want to do some general areas, do every side of the tank and get it done. Otherwise, on most of my cleanings, I'll have a designated toothbrush that I'll use just to touch up any areas where I see there might be some algae and take care of those. I'll also do kind of around the top where the water may have evaporated. It usually leaves some plant bits and some water lines, so I'll use a toothbrush for that. Next, a designated dirty gallon jug is what I use. You can use a bucket, whatever you want your water to empty into. I prefer a gallon jug because I save the dirty aquarium water and use it in my household plants, because the ammonia and other chemicals in the water are very beneficial for a lot of plants. Next, designated clean jugs. Usually I'll fill these a day in advance, leave them uncovered for 24 hours, and the chlorine will evaporate out. If you're more in a hurry than that, you can always dose with Prime to dechlorinate your water before it goes in the fish tank. Just make sure you follow the correct instructions on there so it's properly dechlorinated before it gets into your fish tank. Let's get cleaning. Your next step will be to actually start emptying out the water. What I like to do is I take my dirty jug, I put it in a bucket, just in case I'm not paying attention, and if this overflows, it doesn't entirely ruin my floor. So take this, I set it on the ground, just so it's lower than where you want your water to be coming from, otherwise it's not going to drain. Take your tubing, open your fish tank. Some people take their fish out. For me, it depends on how heavy a cleaning I'm going to do. Today I'm just going to take out some of the water, not as much as I usually do. So I'm just going to leave Ziggy in here. Stick one end of the tubing into the water, take the other end of the tubing. You can either get something that will suck out some of the air, or you can do it like I do. I've never had a problem with it. Put your lips to one end of the tubing, start sucking the air out. Just make sure you stop when you see the water start to get into the tube. You don't want tank water in your mouth. I'm sure it's happened to plenty of people. Hasn't happened to me yet, but put your finger over it, then put that end into your gallon jug or bucket or whatever, and you're doing it. Start sifting it around, swirl the end is how I do it. I get tons of roots stuck in the tube, so I let it go a little bit before I pull them out. For me, the biggest issue is snail poop. They are nice and dirty creatures, as fun as they are to watch, but since they're visible, I can just roll my moss balls around actually. They kick up all the yucky stuff from the bottom, and I suck it out. Just be careful that you're watching your gallon jug so you don't overflow it onto your floor. if you take the end of the tube out of the water on accident, you're going to have to empty out the tube so you can suck on the end again. You're not going to be able to just put it back in and have it work. So in that case, just start taking all the water out and draining it into your jug. You will suck up some sand, and that's okay. It's not a big deal. It's more just be careful not to suck up too much because you're just disturbing the look of your fish tank is all. So as you can see, just sucking up the junk, swirl it around. You can see lots of stuff gets picked up. For me, it's mainly the snail poop and plant bits. And just continue doing that all over your tank. When you're at the level you want or closer to the level you want of water gone, that's when I usually scrub my tank. So let's pretend I actually have more water out of here. Empty it out from the tube just by raising it up so it drains out. Take your brush, excuse me Ziggy, and just start cleaning your tank. You'll also notice at this point, as you're moving the water around more like this, that you see a lot more of the junk in the bottom that you'll want to clean. I like disturbing the water this way because then if I do plan on taking out more water, I know what areas I need to focus on. So. Your final step is going to be to pour some water back into the tank. So what I usually do, I take my clean water, I find a place in the tank where it's not going to disturb too much of the sand. I pick over an ornament or over the driftwood. For me it works very well because there's a specific high point in the driftwood where when I pour over that point it doesn't disturb the sand. However works best for you, maybe you just need to pour the water more slowly and your tank is clean and your fish is happy. Thank you so much for watching.